guys, thanks so much for coming back to the channel. Today I want to talk about Gears of War 5 and just how broken this game is. I'm not all talking about the mechanical side of this with glitches and bugs, but the game is broken altogether. The story points, the characters are broken. It's very sad to me. I'm a huge Gears of War fan, and there was a lot of expectation for Gears of War 5 just because of the build-up from 4. They actually had a pretty solid build-up leading up to this game. So if they would have executed it right, it could have brought Gears of War back into one of the main games in Xbox that people could be happy with and content with, but unfortunately they failed pretty miserably. So today I want to break down some of the issues that I've had and why I feel that Gears of War 5 is broken. Okay, so first I do have to start with Jack. Jack is a huge part of this game. You can collect these components around each stage, each act, and you apply them to Jack. He gets upgrades. There's side missions that you can do to upgrade Jack, and he's really a central point to the game and really ends up saving the team altogether. A central focus like that, you'd think that they would make sure that you always keep your components. I played through the campaign and I went back and played through some other parts of it. I have lost components many times. A buddy of mine who was playing on a computer actually played as Jack and switched to Dell. When he switched to Dell, Jack lost all of his upgrades permanently. They didn't come back. So going through the game after that is absolutely miserable. It's definitely centered around Jack in that regard. And so that's one broken glitch that I dealt with. It is just game breaking. Apart from that, there's tons and tons of bugs and glitches that have sent me to the dashboard many times. It's what you expect in games. I mean, I've seen it in Gears of War before, but I don't see very many updates for this. And that's concerning. I see updates for games that I don't have any issues with, but it seems like the Coalition doesn't even care to fix these game-breaking glitches that are still around. I'm an Xbox fan, I love Microsoft, but it just reminds me of the Master Chief Collection and how this game has been out a while and it's still not being fixed. It just makes you wonder where the priority is at with that. As far as the story goes itself, there's very poor character build-up. They introduce a new character named Foz, who I'm assuming everybody hates because he's a complete jerk. I thought he was by far the most expendable character. They built him up to be, and he's one of them that lives. Spoiler alert, I still can't believe that. The characters that they do kill off in comparison to Foz just absolutely wreck the story. It's by far the worst Gears of War story. I would say worse than Gears of War Judgment, and that one was pretty rough. So the story is it's all over the place. They went from a linear story to an open world story, back to a linear, all in the same game. That is a mess, and I don't think anybody should ever do that. If they can pull it off, great. This game did not do it. Gears of War has been successful because it's had a linear storyline. There is no reason to change that up now unless you're going to make the entire game open world. But literally starting out linear and then going to open world just totally messes with the whole feel of the game. And it definitely feels off balance when you do that. The open world part is very glitchy as well. We had a lot of issues going through that part. And just the bugs that we dealt with, it totally takes you out of the experience of the game. And so even with a lackluster story, the bugs just were too much. There's also a plot choice at the end of this game. It's a big choice, which makes absolutely no sense to me because Gears of War 6 is, I'm assuming, still coming. But one of these characters will die and one of them will live, so there will have to be canon. So I don't get when games do that. And then you go on to the next game and there will have to be a definitive choice unless they write off one of these characters, which the characters are huge. They're not little side characters that you can easily write off. I feel like they've put themselves in a box right here with this, and it's a mess. This entire game is a big mess. It's a big disappointment. The parts that I have that were fun were mainly just playing with my friends, and also the fact that it was Gears of War and Coltrane showing up a few times, which is one of my favorite video game characters of all time. Apart from that though, this game has been just a complete headache more than anything. I've played it free off of the Game Pass, and if it wasn't free, I would be pretty angry about it. I feel like that's why they've been a little bit lackluster on the updates. And there's no events, hardly. I've seen 2 events the entire time, and events definitely draw people in. It's a mess. Gears 5 is definitely broken, and I'm very sad to say that. Also, finding out that Rod Ferguson is leaving, I have mixed emotions about that, because it feels like he hasn't had as much control of it as he should. It's definitely went downhill since 3, so I know changes do need to be made, but after this game, I don't even know if there's going to be a Gears of War 6. We have Gears of War Tactics coming out, and that looks interesting, but not as fulfilling as a Gears of War game normally is with the full story. But at this point, I'm looking forward more towards Gears Tactics than going back to Gears 5. That's how big of a mess it is. Let me know what you guys think though. Have you played Gears 5? Have you had any issues? Please tell me your bugs, because I've seen some pretty funny ones, and some pretty horrible ones that have prevented me and my friends from moving on to the next level. But yeah, let me know what you think. As always, thank you for watching.